Welcome back, my horde. So, in between videos, we were talking about Marvel there for a bit. Well, somebody had a smoke.
Cry me a river.
I don't know, I think you all should just quit. If you're listening to this, Jay, quit smoking, Jay. Jay, you don't need to smoke anymore, McJay.
Yeah, it's not that easy. You don't have an addiction. So.
Everyone has an addiction.
What's yours? Video games?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Okay.
No, see, you and our stepfather once said that to me, that my addiction was video games. When I had brought up the fact of, your guys' addiction was smoking. And then I still respond with the same thing. First, I can go 24 hours without, playing video games and not start scratching myself and wanting to have a smoke.
Excuse you, but I can go 24 hours without smoking.
Sure you can. So you're telling me that when we moved, you didn't, accidentally devour a pack of smokes in a day? Because you were stressed out? Because...
Well, I didn't say that. I said I quit smoking for a day.
The second thing in which I also argue there is that how many packs of smokes can you buy with $80? She's doing math.
4 packs is 56.
Okay.
So I think 5.
Okay. 5 or 6 we'll go with. Okay. So, and that will last you how long? 6 packs?
12 days.
Okay. So, if I can buy a video game that lasts me longer than 12 days, which usually they can last me up to a couple months. Tell me, if I am addicted to video games, who's in the worst tier?
Ooh, me. Because I have lots of health issues that can occur with my smoking.
Yeah, so why not start trying to quit? I know that a lot of people that actually are trying to, are smokers. I find that one of the biggest problems is the fact that if any, when I'm stressed out or when anyone that's not smoking is stressed out, we don't think we want to shove something in our freaking face that's lit and start puffing. And I think it's the fact that smokers, when they get stressed out, that's their go-to, and they can't think of a counter to it. I think that's actually one of the biggest things. If you can figure out a counter to your stress, I think you can actually quit. I think it's a lot easier.
I will always regret my decision to start smoking again. Because when I was told that I had probably 99% chance I had cancer in my ovaries and had a cyst removed off my ovaries, I had to quit smoking for the surgery and was told it was probably cancer. So I quit smoking the next day. And I quit for 3.5 years.
And then you just start up because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is I have one uncle and he used to smoke heavily, so he decided that he was going to drink the equivalent of 5 Alive, because that's the only thing I can remember seeing him with all the time. So he had cans of 5 Alive, and it got to the point where he was, I know it's kind of weird to sound, but he was overdosing on vitamin C. Mm-hmm. So bad that he had to stop drinking that. He had to find something else to do, and I don't know if he ended up doing it, but I know he still smokes, so.
But no. I know that I had the discussion with your son about not smoking.
I have too. A lot of things that your mother did, please do not do the same thing.
Yeah, we've talked about that. And he took it as my parents didn't smoke, but I'm like, oh no, they both smoked. I just don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll have to have a talk with him about that too at some point. But the fact that, our stepdad smoked.
Like a chimney.
And I never did.
And
actually, to be fair, it actually is one of the reasons that I didn't smoke. Mm-hmm. Because I saw how much money he was wasting towards it, that it actually infuriated me. It's actually the reason that I don't even do a lot of things like smoke weed or drink even, because I had seen people around me who had spent so much stinking money doing those things that I'm just like, no,
Right.
Like I'm not against people that drink, but I don't drink. I haven't drank in many years. And like, it's also the fact that like when I was younger, I remember being 16, 17 and hanging out with like 13, 12-year-olds because I didn't want to grow up. And all the people I was hanging out with were either smoking or drinking. Or having like those weird like, parties in which you're either doing one of those two things or, being very much overtly sexual. And as the 16-year-old boy I didn't want to do those things. So I started hanging out with people that were younger.
I have very negative influencing friends.
Yes.
I didn't have really any friend that wasn't way above me in the experiencing of things than I was.
Because, my best friend, I didn't have many friends either. I had, in school, I think I had 3 friends. One was my best friend. One would be my old friend. The other one is someone my one roommate. Anyway, my best friend, he started hanging out with his girlfriend and starting partying and drinking, and that's when we stopped hanging out as much. The old friend, he came out of the closet, which is, I was totally down with. Everything was cool, but he wanted to hang out with people that were also going to go and do stuff like that. So I stopped, hanging out with him as much because he didn't want to hang out with me. He wanted to go to, all gay and bisexual parties.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm not bisexual and I'm not gay, I was not invited. And then the other friend, she was the only one that didn't actually do any of that stuff. And that's actually why we became roommates. So. Yeah. That's mine.
I was wrong.
Yeah, I had a small core group of friends that, because of where I lived growing up, we lived far away from outside of city limits, so they'd catch the bus with me, hang out at my house for the weekend, and then we'd take the bus to school on Monday. So my mom was very understanding, and she knew that we didn't really get into anything too crazy. Like, we would raid the chocolate and chips and stuff like that, and she made sure that it was stocked every weekend, so that was our thing. And we played D&D because, well, we were all nerds. Still a nerd.
Maybe my mom should have raised me somewhere a little away from her.
No.
No, you're big, because I remember even a couple times that you actually did go away from everyone. It was actually worse for you. I remember the 2 or 3 times you went camping with your one friend, or your other friend, because I remember it was the 2 girls that you hanged out with a lot that were the ones. The one friend, you literally went out there and got so smashed that literally all the alcohol you guys brought for the week was gone.
The first night.
The other one, you had gone out and got into 3 fights within the first day. Because you guys came home early that one. Because you guys were actually afraid of sleeping out there. Because the girls that you had fought with, you were afraid were going to come when you were sleeping. And the kicker to that was the fact that they were all friends. It was like a large grouping of girls, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Something like that.
And it was the concept that basically one girl out of the group got mad at one other girl out of the group and basically divided the group, and now they were just basically all fighting.
It was Civil War.
It was,
but teenage girls.
Yeah.
And basically I remember that you came home freaking bruises and stuff like that. And basically I think you lied about why you got the bruises, but
More than likely.
you probably told me the truth.
Uh-huh.
Because that was something common.
I didn't really expose a lot of my bad behaviors to our mother until I was already 21 or 22.
Until you were past the, what was it? There's a term.
After I had my first child. After I had my child. And then went through postpartum and had to explain why and all the things I'd gone through. And then it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I remember like stuff like that. It's like I'm just going, well, what the frick? Or the one time you literally fought a chick 5 times within a month. And it wasn't even like it was your fault. It was literally the first time they had mutual friends. So it was the second girl, and that was their mutual friends, the second girl. And when they were all hanging out, the 3 of them, basically the girl said something, you basically didn't stand for it and told her to go F herself, and you guys punched each other. And then you guys separated and everything was fine. But she held a grudge and would like constantly hunt you. If she saw you across the street, she would run across the street to beat you up.
I was very loved, okay?
And this lasted for like something like a month, you were saying, before somebody basically told her to either knock it off or, you know, it was going to be dealt with a different way. I don't remember who or anything like that. We're not going to get into that too much, but I remember that. Because I remember you coming up to me and going, oh yeah, I just want to tell you, thanks for like, you know, beating me up, you know, as a kid and, you know, stuff like that. I'm like, I never beat you up. What the heck are you talking about? I'm like, well, you know, like rough, you know, play with. I'm like, why? You're like, oh, because I got into another fight. I'm like, what?
He was training you for your future.
Oh, apparently MTV Dance had busted some chick's nose and fractured her jaw. Whoops.
See, I never even went to any of those. Like, I've never gone to any of that crap.
I didn't
like,
either.
I was bad. I was one of the dealers of the MTV dances.
Terrible.
What paid for other things I wanted to see. I didn't care for that portion of it, but it helped pay for the things I did.
Just a good thing that this all happened at underage, that you're admitting to it on YouTube.
Yes. Totally underage. Young little dumb child.
So yeah, no, I remember not doing. I never did any of that crap because like one, like I never did drugs. Like I've never done any drugs ever. So
Flip
like
it in his beverage.
I would end you.
Can't say I never did.
No, I said that once when I worked at a fast food place, and the manager at the time was like, I should make you some special brownies. I'm like, I will punch you. No ifs, ands, or buts. She's like, I just wanted to see what you're like when you're, you know, high. And I'm like, well, I don't.
I got told that once. Because of how hyper I am and all that stuff. The person's like, oh, I wonder what you were like on this kind of drug. I'm like, I'll end you. They're like, yeah, you know, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Well, it's because I told them that when I got drunk, like to the point where I was blackout drunk, I just laughed a lot. Like that was just my thing, is I just laughed.
Except for the one time, you know, Tammy's 21st, we went, or not 21st, sorry, 19th. I guess it's the actual number here. We went to a bunch of places around her hometown, and because, you know, her uncle worked at one of them, and her aunt worked at another, and this one was in walking distance of her cousin. Tammy got fed a lot of drinks. A lot of drinks. And basically we went to Denny's afterwards, and as we're at Denny's, basically, I had already talked to Tammy, knowing she was going to be drunk. I had talked to Tammy the day before, asking her all the items she wants to eat. So that way when we're there, she's not getting drunk and forgetting what she wanted or anything like that. Well, she did, and I fixed it. And then she's like, oh man, I'm not feeling good. I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go with you. You know, her sister came with me too, because her sister didn't trust me. I think that's the concept. But Tammy,
she was supposed to be a supervisor, by the way, my sister. She was drunk.
We'll get into that one in a second. So Tammy throws up in the sink. I think she throws up in the toilet first.
Yeah.
And then afterwards she throws up again in the sink. And as she throws up in the sink, she's like trying to clean it. Like she's trying to be like this polite drunk who's cleaning it and stuff like that.
And then I'm pretty sure I also threw up on the floor, like, right on the drain.
Yeah.
And so then I'm just, like, trying to, like, squeegee it with my hands to go down the drain. I'm just like, just go. Like, at least I tried. I was at least trying to be nice.
And then we went home and she threw up in the car, outside the car, of course, because she started feeling sick in the car. And then she's like, oh, I'm starting to feel sick. So she opens up the door to throw, because she can't figure out the handle to actually roll down the window. And then the driver's like, oh, like, you know, he's not going fast. But he's like, make sure she doesn't fall in the car. Like, he's like panicking. I'm like, she's got her seatbelt on. She's fine.
Yeah, and so pretty much I whipped open the door and I'm like, bleh. But we were in a parking lot, so he was going, like, there was speed bumps, so we were going, like, 10 kilometers an hour, so. But yeah, I was very polite, giggly drunk.
I did that to my best friend's mom on that actual camping trip. Woke up the next morning and got my first time ever time of the month and had to go to the, like, store to get something for that. And literally got in the car, and as soon as the car started moving, the nausea just kept coming and coming and coming. So that by the time we were about to literally exit the campground to go to the store, I had literally outside the door with the whole door open, barfing all the way down the main road, just drilling. So the whole road,
just fertilizing, you know.
Nice.
The only time I've actually really been drunk was with my best friend. What was supposed to happen was me and him were going to get drunk that week. Tammy was going to babysit me. His girlfriend was going to babysit him. And then the next week, they were going to get drunk. And we were going to babysit them. Because we weren't just going to get like a little drunk. We were going to get as messed up as possible. That was the goal. Because we had never been that messed up. So it was like the first time we wanted to try it. Well, Tammy had to babysit all three of us. Because the girlfriend decided that she was bored of not drinking. So she started drinking too. And then on top of that, she couldn't control my friend at all. Like at one point, we're walking to the store because we decided that we want slushies. And we're walking and he just starts getting hyper because that's what he is. He's a hyper chaotic kind of guy. I am too, but I'm just less chaotic. Anyway, he just starts running across the street like, you know, playing with this and playing with that, playing with this, playing with that, trying to be funny. And she's just like freaking out, saying his name, just freaking out because she doesn't know what to do. And then me, my brain, my drunk brain, I'm controlling him better than freaking she is. Because basically the concept is that you don't tell him he can't do it. You basically don't encourage him either. You find the middle ground of encouraging him to do something else. So like, you know, he ran after some guy's boat. Because he wanted to jump into the guy's boat and pretend to drive it. And as he's going to go climb the guy's boat, I'm like, hey man, we're going this way, you coming? And he's like, oh yeah, and runs after us. Like,
yeah, he ended up, I think, jumping in. They have those big freezer, deep freeze things that you can open the door and there's like bags of ice.
Yeah.
Jumped in there.
Yeah, he thought it'd be funny.
Closed the door.
He closes the door on himself and he's hiding in there waiting for us to find him. And she, at one point, she looks around, she goes, where is he? Where is he? And then, like, Tammy's just like, for F's sakes, woman, you have one job. Watch him.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm not feeling good because now it's actually fully hitting me that I'm drunk.
Because we were sitting down, we had all these shots and drinks and stuff, and then we went for the walk. So it's all starting to circulate.
So
after walking.
Yeah.
So I look at Tammy, I'm like, I'm pretty sure last time I saw him was on that ice cooler. You may want to go check in that general area. And Tammy's like, okay, you know, I'll take the drunk guy's advice, who's, you know, at least observant. At least he's giving me a path. So she walks over there and she's like looking around and she's like trying to say his name, saying his name. And then she like kind of like, maybe he's weird. Like, you know, Robbie does keep saying he's weird. Let's just check it out. She grabs the ice cooler, opens it, and opens the door. And he's just sitting there going, it's cold in here. And she's like, well, get out, man. He's like, okay. And he gets out. Like, and like later on, like he's dicking around with something, and she again, can't control him. And I'm like, I can't control him either right now. I'm not feeling good. Like, I'm going to throw up. And then she looks at him and goes, hey, man. And he looks at him and goes, Rob needs you, man. He needs you right now. Like, he's not feeling good. He needs you right now. He goes, on it. And just runs up to me. And he's like, you okay, man? And like, would not leave my side for the rest of the night. Like, it was just amusing how quickly she understood how to control him where the girlfriend couldn't.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend knew him a lot longer than I did.
But the girlfriend also had a tendency to want to do things with him, but would go the wrong way to convince him. Like, he would work, a 9-hour shift at work, where he's, a mechanic, so he's constantly doing stuff. He'd get home, he'd be a little tired, and she's like, let's go for a walk. He's been on his feet all day. Why would he want to go for a walk? And then I'll just pick up that, but she also walks really slow. So because she walks really slow, it's like a 30-minute walk can be an hour and a half. So, of course he doesn't want to do walks. And then he just wants to sit there and play video games or do this or do that. He wants to relax. And when he's playing video games, he'll play video games with me. And this is like years and years and years ago. He's not even with this girl anymore. But he'd play video games. And then she would actually unplug his internet cord. So he'd lose internet. So when he came out to go see why he lost internet, she goes, oh, I accidentally tripped over the cord. So then he put the cord back in. She goes, well, now that you're out here, we should watch a movie. Stuff like that.
She tried to be very manipulative, but...
And we were staying there for about a month at one point, and she got mad at me because I asked him if he wanted to do something. And he's like, yeah, we can see, how I feel a bit later on, because, he got off work. I'm like, hey, man, we're about to have dinner. After dinner, after we digest, do you want to go to the lake? It's like a 10-minute drive from where he lived. And he goes, no, see how I feel. I'm like, okay. And then basically, we were done dinner, an hour passed. I'm like, hey, do you want to go to the lake? He goes, oh, man, I totally forgot. Yeah, let's go to the lake. But she wouldn't do that. She would just keep nagging. Mm-hmm. It was she wouldn't give him that time, and he was very forgetful. So, if you asked him a question hey, do you want to do this later on today? You would have to ask him again later on that day. He would never ask you. He would forget. But she knowing that, instead of waiting, she would just ask him every 10, 30 minutes. Instead of waiting an hour and a half and asking. So at certain points, he literally just wouldn't want to do things because she'd been nagging him all day about, hey, do you want to go for this walk? Hey, do you want to go for this walk? Hey, do you want to go for this walk? And he's like, no, not anymore.
Hey, want to give me a massage later?
I might forget.
Well, I'll remind you in 10 minutes.
I'll totally forget that.
But yeah, so there was that. I remember also the alcohol we drank was awful.
Yeah.
Me and him, the next day, we woke up, and we weren't hungover. I've never been hungover, so I don't know what it feels like. But he says he had been, and it didn't feel like being hungover. It felt like being drunk again. It felt like, with this alcohol, it felt like it was sitting in your bloodstream in bubbles.
What were you drinking?
It was some kind of rye whiskey.
Ugh.
It was...
Yes, my favorite.
It was, it was a bigger bottle.
It was cheap rye whiskey. I just don't remember that.
A plastic bottle. It had weird little...
No, it was
diamonds, diamond.
I don't remember. It was something cheap.
I'll have to look it up.
It's not something I've ever had. I've
Just
never
don't
had
do it.
real cheap stuff.
Yeah, no, we had
It's
cheap stuff
cheap.
because we didn't have much money,
Yeah, the thing was either
and we didn't realize it was
R&R or Wisers.
we didn't realize it was rye whiskey until after we had drank it. The next day, when we didn't feel good, he went home and looked at the bottle. And he's like, "It's rye whiskey, not whiskey." We missed the rye part of it. But anyway, no, I felt like there was bubbles of alcohol still in your system, and when we started moving, it felt like it dispersed again and just made us drunk, and just made us feel like crap. Not good drunk, just crap drunk. Right. We're like, oh man, this sucks. And like, you know, I'm like, it lasted because we got drunk on Friday. We didn't feel better until Monday morning. Like Sunday, we still felt like crap. Like, it was awful stuff.
I don't know. I think I've been hungover once.
I've had it twice, and that's because I was stupid and had like acidic orange juice the next morning, and that didn't settle the stomach very well. I was fine until the orange juice.
See, and that was always my problem. I could drink hard alcohol just fine, drink some sort of pop or something with it. The minute I would drink just a cooler or put in some sort of cooler at any point during the day, or the night of drinking, I would be sick.
Well, the
Coolers
one time
always made me sick.
The one time I actually did get, I threw up when we were drinking. We were taking shots. And we just shot. And it was like we were playing a game. Every time you lost the game, you take a shot. Right. And just stuff like that. And then, like, we had a bunch of shots in front of us. It was like vodka, whiskey, and one of them was a cooler. And I had taken all my shots, and I was fine. Like, I was laying there, and I was fine. And as I sit down, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Everything's good. My friend went, hey, man. I'm like, He said, you forgot one of your shots. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Got up from the couch. It was about 10 feet away. Grabbed the drink. It was the cooler. Downed it. Put it down. Walked back to the couch. Sat back on the couch. And as soon as I sat back on the couch, I went, nope. Got up. Walked to the bathroom and threw up. That is how quickly the cooler went and said, nah, we're done, man.
Yeah, disagree with everything else.
Yeah, that quickly. Like, it was like, you know, just a 10-foot walk. And it was just like, nope. And then I threw up and then came out and he's like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, I feel much better now.
See, and that's what sometimes I do, is I would just let vomit happen and then I just feel better after.
Yeah. I remember one point in my life when I was underage. We went to our stepdad's family's house. And they were trying, he was trying to get, our stepdad was trying to be nice and let me have a couple shots. But at the exact same time, he was like, you know, secretly wanting me to get like a mild hangover the next day. So like, you know, he could like, you know, go, haha, you know, like don't drink, you know, but you know, only the mild part. I think I had like 4 shots of Fireball or something like that. And maybe a couple more. It wasn't that much. But anyway, went home. I went to sleep. The next morning, I'm hearing him talk to my mom about the fact that he fucking hates me. And I'm like, why does he hate me? So I asked him, like, what's going on? Like, what did I do? He's like, wouldn't really bring it up. I'm like, okay, I don't get this. It wasn't until later on that I figured out the reason he was upset with me was because he threw up that night and I didn't.
Oh, that man can't hold his alcohol. No. No. Mm-mm.
But that was the thing, was the fact that he was hoping that I would throw up.
Yeah.
But he threw up and I didn't. And I was just like...
So he couldn't do the 5 doubles with JD then? He would throw it up?
He used to drink with his best friend all the time, beer. And it would just take, like, you know, one of those 12 packs or something of Corona. And he'd come back and barf. He can't not puke when he's drinking. It's just...
But I do remember that car ride home. I did not feel good on that car ride home. After this Fireball. Because the concept that, you know, I just, you know, being a younger person, not understanding alcohol at all, like, I just had my head, like, rested on the window going, oh, I hope we get home soon.
Right.
Oh, and then we got home and I, you know, laid down. I was fine. I also remember going... the stupidest thing I ever did was I went... After work, I went out with a bunch of people to go to the bar. We went to the bar. I had, like, a couple of Mike's Hard Lemonades. And... because that was my drink of choice at the time. Because I'm not a beer drinker. And... got home and just threw up. And then I realized the next day, oh yeah, I didn't eat that day.
That'll do it. I don't like beer either.
Like, I didn't eat, like, you know, I ate earlier that day at work. But, like, at the beginning, I usually, what I do when I work, or when I did work there, is I would eat closer to the beginning of the day, and then eat when I got home. But I never ate when I got home because I went out drinking instead. So yeah, that wasn't fun.
Going to stepdad's sister's house was awesome when your technically parents didn't care that you drank. There's so many varieties, and the uncle would make all these random drinks that you could try.
See, I never actually had any of those. Literally, I just had the Fireball that once. But it was the concept that they would have parties with friends, and whatever the friends brought for alcohol, they would just leave because they wouldn't drink it all. Like, they'd bring a big bottle of whiskey, for example, and have, like, 3 drinks. And then would just leave the bottle of whiskey because, they don't want to bring it home.
Right.
So they just would accumulate all these bottles of alcohol, and then he, would actually, like, make people drinks when he was there.
It's great because cousin came into town once there, and she messaged me and asked me to come over to Aunt and Uncle's to come hang out with her while she was in town. So I went there, and we were literally up and down from the bar all night to the point where stepdad drove me and my son home to our house, and I was plastered. I don't even remember getting in the house or going to bed.
But it happened.
But it happened from
One, I never got that drunk. And 2, and this is the other thing, I was never got invited to these things. People just don't care about me, man.
Yeah, no. I was going to say the only thing that I know that used to make people cringe a lot was when I mixed my own drinks. I'd always do a shot of vodka, a shot of whiskey, a shot of moonshine, and then the equivalent of that I would do in whatever mixer, so like Sprite, 7-Up, or whatever. And like that alone just made people cringe. They're like, that's disgusting. How are you still alive?
I did weird mixes too, but the only thing I heard in that entire description was moonshine and my stupidity with moonshine, and I don't know.
For a while there, I was using moonshine as tooth number. When I had my one tooth that was actually like rotten away and actually was hurting so fucking much before I could get it removed. I would be taking like Lysol, or not Lysol, sorry, Listerine. Sorry, correct one. Listerine, and actually like mouthwash, Listerine. But the problem is that you can't drink after 30 minutes of doing Listerine. It's actually like on the thing. It's not supposed to do that. So like if it's still during the day when I'm still doing stuff, I still need a drink. So what I do is I take a little bit of moonshine and just put it in my mouth and just swig it, and it just numbs your entire mouth. So
I made a giant boo-boo, and I stole a Mickey of moonshine from my stepdad that was in the cupboard in the kitchen, and I brought that with me to my friend's house. I had nothing to mix with it, so the only thing that they had was orange pop. So I was literally drinking out of the bottle of it and chasing it with orange pop. I ran out of cigarettes. So I convinced the other gentleman that was there, because we were so hammered, that he had to wear the same type of outfit I was wearing, and we'd walk the street. First one to get a cigarette would win. So he was literally like your height, like 6 feet tall, wearing the girl that lived there's mini skirt, because I was wearing mini skirt and this little tank top of hers, walking down the street, and he was the first one to get a cigarette because of course he looked funny in his attire. And then somehow, I don't even know how it got brought up, but somehow we magically decided we were going to streak through the golf course. So every time I pass Costco, that's all I think about is streaking across that entire golf course.
So, there's another story I was going to bring up, but I think we're going to leave streaking at golf course as our final topic for tonight, for that one at least. So, until next time, my horde, just, don't get stupidly drunk.